Never tell them the actual dream.
You will be amazed to know that Brazil was the last country to ban slavery in 1888.
Whenever I first saw Nope, that opened my eyes to it. Welcome back to my channel, guys. It's Gemini Jada, and thank you for clicking on this video. So, as you know, this month is Black History Month. I hope you guys knew that. It's Black History Month, and I am going to be reacting to 10 Black History facts that are least known video. I'm excited for this because I know most things about Black history, but at the same time I don't. I'm learning with you guys. Let's get into it. Okay, where's my AirPod? Put my AirPod on. I'm gonna be playing the video here, but I'm gonna be looking over here. So if my eyes like look a little weird, it's like I'm looking at the video over here. So yeah, let's start.
Black History Month, or Negro History Week, which was introduced by historian Carter G. Woodson, you will find out 10 Black history facts that are least known in today's video. So sit back, relax, hold tight, something unique is coming your way.
I'm sitting back.
Before there was Rosa Parks, there was Claudette Colvin. Most people, including you, think of Rosa Parks as the first person to refuse to give up their seat on a bus in Montgomery, Alabama.
I knew that, but I didn't know
women
who
came
it
before
was.
Rosa Parks, one of whom was Claudette Colvin. It was March 2nd, 1955, when the 15-year-old schoolgirl refused to move to the back of the bus. This incident happened 9 months before Rosa Parks' stand and launched the Montgomery bus boycott. Claudette had been studying Black leaders like Harriet Tubman in her segregated school. Those conversations had led to a discussion around the current day Jim Crow laws they were all experiencing. When the bus driver ordered Claudette to get up, she refused. Claudette said it felt like Sojourner Truth was on one side pushing me down, and Harriet Tubman was on the other side of me pushing me down. I couldn't get up. Claudette Colvin's stand didn't stop there. She had the will to do something for her people, which got her arrested and thrown in jail. She was one of 4 women who challenged the segregation law in court.
She's standing on business for real.
It brought her. Why has Claudette's story been largely forgotten? At the time, the NAACP and other Black organizations felt Rosa Parks made a better icon for the movement than a teenager. As an adult with the right looks, Rosa Parks was also the NAACP secretary and was both well known and respected. Martin Luther King Jr. improvised the most iconic part of I Have a Dream speech. It's normal to improvise speeches on stage, but I Have a Dream sounds impossible, but it's true. On Wednesday, August the 28th, 1963, 250,000 Americans united at the Lincoln Memorial for the March's final speech on Washington. As Martin Luther King Jr. stood at the podium, he eventually pushed his notes aside. The night before the march, Dr. King began working on his speech with a small group of advisors in the Willard Hotel lobby. The original speech was more political and less historic, according to Clarence B. Jones, and it didn't include any references to dreams. After delivering the now famous line,
"No, we are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like water."
On stage during Dr. King, singer Mahalia Jackson reportedly kept saying, "Tell him about the dream, Martin." And while no one would know if he heard her, it could have like.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream.
Never tell them the actual dream.
While this spontaneous speech given on a hot August day in 1963 was not considered a universal success immediately.
Okay, so we know Martin improvised his speech. Okay.
Inoculation was introduced to America by an enslaved African. Few details are known.
If you don't know what inoculation is, let me look it up for you. So it's the artificial introduction of infection to cells, tissues, or an organism.
Details are known about the birth of Onesimus. Onesimus was a gift to the Puritan church minister Cotton Mather's from his congregation in 1706.
Why is that his first name?
Onesimus told Mather's about the century-old tradition of inoculation practiced in Africa. By extracting the material from an infected person and scratching it into the skin of an uninfected person, you could deliberately introduce smallpox to the healthy individual, making them immune. He described to Mathers the process of inoculation that had been performed on him and others in his society in Africa, saying people take a juice of smallpox and cut the skin and put in a drop. Considered extremely dangerous at the time, Cotton Mather's convinced Dr. Zabdiel Boyston to experiment with the procedure when a smallpox epidemic hit Boston in 1721. Only 2% of the patients requesting inoculation died compared to 15% of the people not inoculated who contracted smallpox. Identify him as the first one to have introduced the practice of inoculation into America. In 2016, medical science came to know about Onesimus' contribution. Of the 12.5 million Africans shipped to the New World during the transatlantic slave trade, fewer than 388,000 arrived in the United States, and native populations were decimated. With the native labor force dwindling and demand for plantation and mining labor growing, the transatlantic slave trade began.
Crazy.
Sea Route gave the green light to the transatlantic slave trade that was underway from 1500 to 1866, shipping more than 12 million enslaved Africans across the world.
And how many
of those
survived?
Africans, only 10.7 million survived the dreaded Middle Passage.
Yeah.
Over 400 years, most enslaved Africans, 4.9 million of them, found their way to Brazil, where they suffered incredibly high mortality rates due to terrible working conditions. You will be amazed to know that Brazil was the last country to ban slavery in 1888.
Brazil was the last to ban slavery? Hold on. Brazil. Love their music, bruh. Brazil. That's the last I'll ever listen to their music. I thought it was America. In the South.
Originally established to educate freed enslaved Africans to read and write, the first of the HBCUs was Cheyney University in Pennsylvania, established in 1837. By the time the Jewish professors arrived, the number of HBCUs have grown to 78.
Hey.
1 in 4 cowboys was black, despite the stories told in popular books and
Here we
movies.
go.
Are you
Here we
surprised? The biggest shock for you is, it is believed that the real Lone Ranger was inspired by the African-American man named Bass Reeves.
Now, I already knew it. Whenever I first saw Nope, that opened my eyes to it.
Black cowboys were often expected to do more of the work in the roughest jobs than their white counterparts. In fact, it is believed that the term cowboy originated as a derogatory term used to describe black cowhands.
Fun fact, guys. Like when you ever tour a home and like the real estate person's like, oh, and this is the master's room. Where do you think they came from? Now they shifted from calling it master to a primary bedroom.
Esther Jones was the real Betty Boop. Most of you might be thinking, who's Betty Boop? Why Esther Jones? Let me tell you, these baby characters were similar. The difference was Betty Boop was a cartoon character, thought to be inspired by someone else. Sometimes later, people came to know about Esther Jones and realized she strengthened the roots. The iconic cartoon character Betty Boop was inspired by a black jazz singer in Harlem. The first licensed African-American female pilot was named Bessie Coleman. Born in Atlanta, Texas in 1892, Bessie Coleman grew up in a world of harsh poverty, discrimination, and segregation. She moved to Chicago at 23 to seek her fortune but found little opportunity there as well. But she faced a double stigma in that being both African-American and a woman. In 1920, Coleman crossed the ocean with all of her savings and the financial support of Robert Abbott, one of the first African-American millionaires. Coleman performed at numerous air shows over the next 5 years, performing thrilling stunts, encouraging other African-Americans to pursue flying. Interracial marriage in the United States was banned in 1664 and not overturned until 1967. These marriages were prohibited, and penalties included the enslavement, exile, or imprisonment of the white perpetrators. It would take 300 years for this law to be overturned. In 1967, Richard Loving, a white man, and Mildred Jeter, a black woman, were married in the District of Columbia. When they returned home to Virginia, they were arrested and convicted of violating the state's anti-miscegenation law. They each faced a year in jail, and their case went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court found in favor of the Lovings in a famous trial, Loving v. Virginia. They ruled that prohibiting interracial marriage on state and local levels was unconstitutional. This meant that marriages between the races were legal in the country for the first time since 1664. In 2000, Alabama became the last state to officially legalize interracial marriage.
Telling me 2000, a year after I was born, Alabama allowed. Are you kidding me? I am like, my tongue is tied right now. That's like last year. Yeah, guys, it's the end of the video. You guys like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know if you guys want any more videos like this, and continue to follow me along this journey. And see you guys in the next video. Bye.